Welcome to episode 179 of Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host, Tommy Manny, bringing you a fun and exciting show. We'll do our normal Eagles recap and our picks, but that segment may be quicker than normal because we do have the Breeders' Cup to cover, and we'll be covering the last 5 races on Saturday. That starts at, looks like 5:41 our time, which will include the Classic, and we'll cover the pick 5. So as always, we got our normal crew, Jason Sayetta.
Hey, Tom, what's up?
Jason, we got Jimmy the Chalk.
Good evening, citizens.
Good evening. And we did mention horses, so with horses comes the famous Jimmy D.
Hi, guys. Good to see you. I got a call from Giovanita Pizza telling me that their sales have been off a little bit since the Travers, so they asked me to come back. Well, and I made a deal, Tom. I said every winner I pick, you got to give away a free pie. So that's what I'm doing.
All right.
Luckily, the owners have alternate sources of income that we can't get into over the airwaves, but yeah.
And with that, this segment and show is sponsored by Giovanina's Pizza. You tried the rest? Go ahead and try the best. All right, let's cover the Eagles. Just a recap of the Eagles quickly. They won the game 38-20. Did cover the spread, which was about 7.5. I think it finished with. I'm not sure the exact final, but 38-20 kind of won easily. It was a little close in the beginning, but I don't know. It didn't really get the feel like it was ever close. Giants, they are what they are. Nothing special. Defense struggled pretty heavily. No A.J. Brown, so we didn't really talk. I think we thought he was playing when we kind of covered it on last week, but no A.J. Brown, but the offense didn't suffer. Barkley finally had a big game, kind of broke that first run for 65 and had over 100 yards for the first time this year. Jason, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying if I was Brian Daboll, I probably would have got arrested during that game. But I will say, the Eagles just blew them off the line, running the ball. Just totally the Giants could not stop the run. Toth, we were bad-mouthing Toth. He played really well at center, so maybe that's his position. Because Juergens has not played well. I don't know if maybe once Juergens is healthy, maybe you move Juergens to guard and get rid of Steen and you start Toth at center because he played well against which supposedly is a good defensive line for the Giants. So, but the tush push that Hurts fumbled, that was outrageous. That was not a fumble. That play is gone next year. You cannot officiate it. Where if you could, they're not officiating it correctly. There's, some kind of controversy almost every game with it, so that's gone. Then the pass interference on them the offensive pass interference was outrageous.
That was pass interference.
On who?
The offense.
Mitchell had his jersey, so
he twice engaged him.
That's
He's
a no
not
call.
running his route to engage him and then pushed him off.
A.J. Brown does it every play. He does it every play. So, if you're
a lot of receivers do it,
then A.J. Brown should get called for it. That's a no call. That should be no call either way. That shouldn't have been a penalty. So, that being said, I don't think the Giants were winning the game anyway, but if I'm Brian Daboll, I'm getting arrested.
Well, the first field goal was a whistle, so that should have been re-kicked.
All right. Well, okay. But, you're swinging at 14 points with the Hurts fumble that wasn't.
Well, no, because if they get that field goal, they would have kicked off and not got the ball at the 50, and the whole game would have been different.
I think they got robbed, but they still weren't going to win the game anyway, but whatever. And then the Scatterboo injury, obviously, who knows what that did to their psyche. That's brutal to lose a player like that. I don't know. I don't think it mattered anyway, but that's, it's a part of the game. You have to bring it up, so.
Yeah, Chalky?
Yeah, I agree that they probably weren't winning the game, but when you see a horrific injury like that, especially, the quarterback and him have become very close. Yeah, he was kind of like, he's giving the team a lot of juice. So you lose a guy like that, it kind of does take the wind out of your sails. And him being able to grind on the ground was key to them winning the first game. Now, of course, Jalen Carter did not play. So when you have the best player on defense back plus Mitchell, it makes a lot of difference.
Also, because Dean didn't play, who's been a big difference in the run game.
Dean played only special teams that game. Yeah. So he's, they came down and got a touchdown. I mean, look, it was a horribly officiated game. Both sides. Dean was literally tackled by the center on Scadaboo's touchdown. They didn't call that.
Correct.
Hurts should have had the first down. The tush push fumble was ridiculous. Like, how you call that forward progress is beyond me. I would have been pissed off if I was Dable too. The officiating around the league is the worst I've seen it with the real refs, and as long as I can remember, most of it's by design, but just a lot of inconsistency across the board with the calls. And look, when you're the Giants and you're not as good a team as the Eagles, if any of those calls goes against you, it makes it that much more of a hill to climb. And whereas the Eagles are a better team, they can overcome that if something goes against them that shouldn't. So, this was the best game I certainly think we've seen Hurts play in the A.J. Brown era, where A.J. Brown has not played, and that was probably a direct result of the fact that they were able to get the running game going early and often. I think as of the end of the game, Barkley had the most rushing yards for any running back in the game this year. I don't know if that got topped in any of the later games.
Yeah, I think Taylor had like a pretty
Taylor had a huge game, I know.
big
So,
game,
I don't know if he did or not.
Couple hundred
But-
yards.
Yeah, they fired on all cylinders, and whether you like Petula, whether you buy into his play calling or not, the one thing you can't fault anytime this year is his red zone play calling, because they're scoring touchdowns almost every time they get to the red zone. So they're effective there no matter who's on the field. So they're games they should have won. Their biggest challenges are coming up after the bye, but they looked how they should have looked against a team that's not that good.
Yeah, I mean, one thing is that they've been running the extra offensive lineman a lot the last two games, and they had 18 snaps, and I think they gained 140 yards on the ground when Fred Johnson was in the game. So coming off the bye, you're probably going to see now some play actions off of that. Yeah, like now you'll start to see kind of new packages from that. But I still think it goes back to what I said before the podcast last week is I don't think the Eagles were ready to match the intensity of the Giants in the first game, and I think this time they played them now a second time, and they were prepared for what they were going to get, and they just dominated them.
By the way, one pitch, home run for the
Ohtani,
Blue Jays.
first pitch.
Oh,
Who? Not Springer.
No, Schneider maybe? Schneider?
wow. I'm going to say, I know Guerrero hit second, but
Guy with
Wow.
glasses. Guy with glasses.
Yeah, Snyder. Yep. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of what game I expected. Jimmy D, your take on it?
First off, I'm sorry I missed standing up for Canada because I was not only appropriate because I know some of our guys really like the Dodgers on here, except the host, and consequently, those of us that have bet Toronto would like to rub it in just a bit.
Third pitch, home run.
Guerrero. Oh, run. Oh, geez. That's a shame. Yeah, go Dodgers, go. Anyhow, anybody but LA. It's just, I was just weaned on that, guys. But I'll say this, exactly what you said, Jay, about the tush push. The Eagles are too good to continue that rugby scrum. You got a quarterback who can leg press 600 pounds. He's the strongest quarterback in the league. You don't need that play. That play is almost, it's become indicative of, nobody likes us. We don't care. Bullshit. You win it professionally. Good. You're gonna dominate that division. I think that they're just coming. Nobody played the preseason, so it's taken them 5-6 games to really get their feet. I think that team is in good shape. I will say this though, because I'm not on this podcast every week. The team to look out for, and I mean that in the NFC, is the Green Bay Packers. That team is good, and that team's getting people back now, and their defense is excellent, much better than their D-backs are much better than the Eagles. They cover deep. Their rush is great. Micaiah Parsons has just been awesome with that team. And if they get Jordan Reed back before the end of the season, their receivers are excellent. That's the team I think the Eagles are going to really have to go up against at the end of the year. And of course, they'll be there. There's no way in the world they can't be there with that division. That's falling apart, really. So there's nothing bad to say about the Eagles. They're doing what they have to do.
Yeah, I know Green Bay gets, I think it's like 76% of the snaps they get pressure with just 4-man front. So if you could do that, your defense. But I don't buy Jordan Love just yet. So
I'm not a fan either.
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't think it
see.
works.
I know he played well Monday or Tuesday, Sunday night, whatever that game was, but we shall see. All right, well, no game for the Eagles this week, so we don't have to talk about that. So we'll just jump right into kind of picks, so we can start the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, so we'll give some stats real fast. So over under was 9-4 on the week, 9 overs, 4 under, so 64-57 on a year over. Public again, bad week, 6-7, so they're 53 and 68 on the year. As a podcast, we had our best week of the year. We went 7-2, and we will start with Chalky. Chalky went 3-0 on the week. His Broncos best bet, which was also my best bet, so that hit. That was really never a question. The Texans, who we also all had, was another really solid pick by Chalky. And then the Packers, actually, I went to bed at halftime. I was like, I don't know about this. And then
That was in. They were losing going into the fourth quarter, so
yeah, so that covered. So 3-0 for Chalky. Tommy and I both went 2-1. So Tommy's best bet was the Texans. Hit that. He had the Eagles. He covered there. And then we both actually had the Saints. They're just not a.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had like 3 turnovers in our first 4 drives, or so you
Yeah,
can't.
they're pathetic. I also went 2-1. My best bet was the Broncos, like I said. I also had the Saints, like Tommy, and I also had the Texans, like both of these guys. So 2-1. The Rally Monkey, Jim, who's taken over for Meeker. We got the Rally Monkey from the Anaheim Angels to figured similar football knowledge as Meeker. So he actually went 0-3.
It is real like Meeker. That's cool.
Similar to Meeker, yep. So he went 0-3. Steelers he had was a loss. 49ers was a loss, and the Bengals who lost outright. So for the year, Tommy and I are both 15-9. I have a profit of $492. Tommy has a profit of $470. We're both 63%, both 20% ROI. Chalky is now even on the year. He's 12-12, loss of $114. 50% win, minus 5% ROI. Rally Monkey's 9-15 on the year, so very similar to Meeker. But as a podcast without the Rally Monkey, we're 42-30. Profit of $848, 58% win, 11.8% ROI. Tommy and I are 6-2 in our best bets. Chalky's 3-5. 35-24 I am. Lifetime 59%. Tommy's 33-24, 58%. Chalky's 29-32, 48%. Meeker is 23-28, 45% best bet. Without Meeker, we're 97-80, 55%. So not bad as a podcast. And then overall, I am 105-77, profit of $1,846, 58% win, 10% ROI. Tommy's now 89-83, $12 profit, so you're positive. 52% win, 0.1% ROI. Chalky is now over 500. He's 92-91. Loss of $670, 50.1% win, minus 4% ROI. Can't forget Meeker. He's 72-81. My loss of $1,598, 47% win, minus 10% ROI. As a pod without Meeker, we are 286 and 251. Profit of now $1,188, 55% win, 2.2% ROI. Doing well.
All right, let's jump into picks. And Jimmy D, I know you listen, so we do a lot of random ways to see who goes first, and inevitably it always is Chalky. No matter alphabetical number, it's always Chalky by chance, by randomization. So we're gonna let you, Jimmy D, decide on who goes. You can go first, or you can defer to anybody on this podcast to go first. It's your choice.
I appreciate that, but I am a traditionalist. I don't like to break tradition, so I really thank you, but I would like to see Chalky go first.
Okay, so Chalky, you're up first.
FYI, Jim, you went first on the Breeders' Cup podcast last year, so much for tradition. All right, So I guarantee you I will not go 3-0 this week, but we'll do our best. Best bet is going to be Houston -1.5 against the Broncos -112. Same thing as last week. Why should Houston be giving points to almost anybody, let alone the Broncos, who are 6-2? So Houston -1.5, -112. Second pick is going to be Chiefs -1.5, -115. You know, they are a road team. Buffalo has beat them in the regular season the last couple of years. The Chiefs are currently the Super Bowl favorites.
I had
and
-105. Did that change? Is it 115 now?
I
It's
had
one-
one.
it's-
I'm not saying who I have, but I did see -115.
-115 on the Chiefs, yeah. So they're saying the Chiefs are going to go on the road. They're laying points, and the public, which doesn't mean much at this point, is on the Bills. And I didn't like another side because it's way too early for a lot of these. So I'm going back to a total to lose for at least one game. I'm going to go under in the Steelers-Colts game. That is under 50.5, -110.
All right, you got the monkey.
I do. So he's also going to that game, but he's taking a side. He is saying Indianapolis -3, -115. And his second pick is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers against the Titans. That is -8.5, -115. And he and I have, and possibly others, have a head-to-head because he is taking the Bills. +1.5, -105.
All right, Jimmy D. We will now go to you.
Well, let me say that one time when I did this, and again, I don't do it often, but I was 3-0, and then I believe I gave you something that I was sure of, and it lost. So I 3-1 with this. So I'll give it a shot.
Jason has. Do you have Jimmy? You had Jimmy D stats.
I have
at one
for
point.
last year. I should have brought them for this year. I mean, I have what your stats are. I don't have them in front of me now.
Jimmy's been perpetually 3-0 every time he's given his picks. So we'll just say he's 3-0
pretty
starting
good.
off. Yeah.
It's definitely been pretty good.
Well, I'll start it off real quick. You might as well not wait to the weekend. I love Baltimore to beat Miami. Miami's going to lose its coach shortly, and Baltimore needs this game desperately.
Well, they beat our survivor pick last week.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I hate that. Yeah. I have the audience is yelling me too in the background. So agree with you.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that would be the top pick that I have. And I like Green Bay. Like I said, they're coming on. I know you got to lay a bunch. It's 13.5, I think, at point. And but Carolina's just got no defense. They're falling apart at the seams. Finally, I like the Titans. You don't lay 9.5 at home. I know that they're abysmal, the Titans, but they will have them playing at a decent level to cover that spread. I'd give you Baltimore, Green Bay, and Tennessee. That would be my three.
All right. And just so for the record, using the current DraftKings lines, Baltimore is -7.5, -110.
Yep.
Green Bay is -13.5. That's -105.
Okay.
And Titans are at +8.5 right now, -105.
All right, Chalky. I do not need you to go 3-0 this week. I don't need you to go 0-3 either, but I do need you to at least go 2-1. My top pick is Houston at -1.5, -1.5, -112. Obvious reasons, like Chalky said. My second pick, I'm actually going with Atlanta +6.5, +100. At some point, New England's not going to.
So that is changed. That
I
is.
checked 4 minutes ago.
I could share my screen right now. It's 5.5, 110.
Oh my God! It literally changed 5 minutes ago.
I mean, I'm going to hit refresh because I just pulled it up when we started, but yep, 5.5, 110.
Which is that's fine. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then my last pick is Kansas City -1.5, -115 for the same reason. Jason?
Well, my top pick is the Houston Texans. -1.5, -112. I agree with you guys, what you said, but also Denver is in the same boat to me as the Patriots. And I think they're better than the Patriots, but they continue to win these games probably that they shouldn't be winning. I mean, last week Dallas just stinks. but they beat the Eagles where they probably, I don't know, that came down to the wire. They shouldn't have beat the Giants. I don't know. I just feel like
The Jets game was abysmal.
exactly. I just feel like at some point, like, all right, and now the spread kind of tells you something. So my second pick is the Chiefs. -2.5, -115. I agree. The Bills just blew the doors off the Panthers. Coming home, they're supposedly the top 2 team in the conference, and they're still a 2.5 point dog to the Chiefs. So I just think the Chiefs are better. Obviously, Vegas does too, and I'll take that. And my third pick is actually the Cardinals, +2.5, -102. I think they're going to win it outright because the Cowboys are just a bad. That might be the worst defense I've ever seen. Like literally, it's the worst defense I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
I just couldn't believe, I had the Broncos last week, but I just could not believe how the Broncos just went up and down the field on them. Cardinals are coming off a bye. Murray's back. I'm not a Murray fan at all, but he's coming back. I think he's 9-0, if I read that correctly, at Dallas. That's an insane stat. So
He hasn't been in the league 9 years.
I don't know. I don't know what that stat was. It was maybe it's not 9-0.
Maybe it's Dallas Stadium because he played in college or something. I wonder if there's
That's
like
probably
He was at Oklahoma, so he might have had a couple
Yeah,
games
that's
there.
true. At AT&T Stadium. He's
yeah,
not.
that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Yeah. So I think they're going to win outright, but I'm going to take the points.
All right, I would be curious to see, and we obviously don't have it, our record when we do these like early week shows, like these Tuesday, Wednesday, where like you don't really have all the data when it comes to where the sides, and just curious. I would lean that it's not as good, but I honestly do not.
Yeah,
know.
I really wanted to try to take the Thursday night game. Baltimore was just getting too heavily bet for me to lean that way, but I mean, they should wipe the floor with them with Jackson coming back.
I think you don't have the public stats, but you have a line that's not as tight as the line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then
Wanna
risk
be.
movement. That's true.
So
All right, well, pretty good. We ran through that. Now let's jump into the reason why we're here, and it is the Breeders' Cup weekend. Starts Friday, with the Juvies, and then Saturday's the big day. Unfortunately, with the Classic, we already got the scratch of Sovereignty, who is going to be the heavy favorite and looks to be the best horse this year by far. I thought was going to wipe the floor at the field, but we'll never know. And I'm sure there'll be more scratches and that we'll have picks. So, but we'll move on anyway. And we're going to start with race 8. Goes off at 5:41 Eastern time here. It is the Breeders' Cup Turf, which is all grade 1 races. It's at 1.5 miles. We're at Del Mar on the West Coast. So we'll just go in the order I'm looking. Jason, you get to kick us off.
all right. So I watched a lot of replays in the last couple of days. A lot, especially on the turf. Mostly on the turf, and especially because these Euros, I don't really know them. Listen here, the 1 Rebels Romance and the 8 Mini Hawker, they're both monsters. They're obviously both monsters, and you need to use them on any ticket. But my top choice is going to be the 3 Amalok. This horse is going to sit right off of maybe Rebels Romance and Mini Hawk because they're going to be pretty prominent. But he's going to sit like right around 3rd or 4th, and he's just got a crazy turn of foot, and if for whatever reason, Rebels Romance and Mini Hawk are, beating each other up, he might just go by them and just win the race. Now, the 8 Mini Hawk, like I said, she's a monster. She's a filly, and she's 3 years old, and she just ran in the Arc, right? So you have to think that she was pretty cranked. And she ran well in the Arc. She got 2nd, but you have to think she's cranked up. I mean, that's one of the top. I mean, it might be. Is it the top race in Europe for turf? I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
okay. So and that was less than a month ago. So Is that going to take a little out of her? Is she not really going to be at her very best in this race? I don't know. I'm taking a shot. Also, the 14 ethical diamond, he's going to be flying at the end, so I'm going to have him for the board. Maybe even the 6, Wimbledon Hawkeye for the board. But 138, I'm going 3 deep in the race.
Okay, I'll go because I actually have the same horses on 138 now. The one Rebels Romance was my top pick. Won this Breeders' Cup races twice now. So older horse, 7 years old, but kind of a swan song to come back and win the Breeders' Cup 3 times. It'll be a big story. Then the 3 Kitty Hawk. So or
8 Mini Hawk.
Or 8, I'm sorry, Mini Hawk was my second pick. So Chalky. To Jason's point, the arc thing is definitely played. But if you look early in the her career as a 2-year-old, she's run like on short rest and did well. Obviously, not races of this caliber, so makes it a big difference. But the horse can run on short rest. Ran 9 days, pretty well. Ran on less than a month and won, and trying to do it again. And then I didn't watch the replays, but just based on the improving time form numbers and the 3-year-old where the horse is going to continue to improve, the 3 was on paper. And then hearing Jason talk about the replays and kind of gives that horse a boost. So I was 138. Chalky.
I was simply 1-8. Make a compelling case for the 3. I didn't get a chance to watch replays, but just looking at the PPs, I wasn't going to go there. So I'll stick with my original picks and bet it if I feel like it. I mean, it's rare for a 3-year-old filly to win the ARC, let alone run that well. And she really had nothing. I mean, she got caught at the end. And O'Brien's bringing her back over here, and I trust him that she'll be in good shape. The only thing with the 8 is, Suleiman was on her in the ARC. He doesn't come over here and ride in North America as much as Ryan Moore does. Ryan Moore's out, so his familiarity with the American-style turf course, I know he comes over, but I don't know that it'll be a negative, but I'm just going to go 1-8.
All right, Jimmy D.
I can't add much different. It's funny that we all see the race in a very similar manner. I like the 1, Bending Camp. I like Rebels Romance because anytime you put people together with Appleby and it's a Godolphin, that's an international powerhouse. This horse has been all over the world. It's won $14 million. This horse is it just keeps coming. It's a 7-year-old that you cannot add anything to say badly about Rebels Romance. And to Jason's point, it even won with the Tory on it. So consequently, I guess he can win with anybody. Mini Hawk, I'm not going for a 3-year-old, regardless of how good it is. I'm not going for a 3-year-old filly in this kind of talented race. If it was any other kind of race, a little bit, scaled down, not in a Grade 1 Breeders' Cup race, I'm not going for that. And I do think the 3 is an improving horse. That could be a lookout for horse. Each race is improved. He's lightly raced. He's only raced, I think, 6 times in his life. And he's flattered by the winner. He only lost to 1 horse, and he's flattered by that horse because that horse went on to win a couple races. So he could be anything to 3. So I'm not doing much different than you guys did, but I would put it 1, 8, 3.
And in case you guys hadn't seen, Frankie Dettori announced his North American retirement for about the 10th time earlier this evening after the Breeders' Cup races on Saturday. So this is his swan song for real this time.
All right, let's move on. This is the big race. It is at the second race of the pick 5, but it is the classic. It's at a monocle. Like I said, Sovereignty did scratch out of this race after getting a fever. So a lot of these odds that we're looking at are going to drastically change, but it doesn't change necessarily our picks. And Chalky, will let you start.
So, I mean, I was thinking about maybe trying to beat Sovereignty, and his scratch is going to depress the value on all the horses I have. I'm going 3 deep here. I'm going to make my top choice Forever Young just because I picked the horse in every race, but ran well last year here. Could have won the race. The jockey and the horse were a little all over the track, but with another year of seasoning and run some big races. That'll be the value. Well, might not be the value, but of the group that I'm giving you, that's the horse I'm going to put on top. I'm also going to have Sierra Leone won this race on this track last year. There's going to be pace in the race, which is what he needs, and hasn't really hasn't done anything wrong this year. He had a little bit of trouble in his last race, so he couldn't win the Jockey Club. Won the Whitney against some of these horses. So I'm going to say he could probably get it done if he gets the right trip, because there will be the pace. And then the other one, I'm going to do Mind Frame. And, I really wanted to see what he could do in the Jockey Club before he got tossed early. I mean, to me, arguably the most talented horse left in this race. I think he's more talented in Fierceness, but he lives up to his name because he's a head case. Rapoli's done a lot of crying this week about pace in the race, which is ironic since he's used it before. So to me, he's worried about something. I'm going to say maybe he's more worried about Fierceness. Mind Frame with Irad, if he's right, could win this race. So it'll be 3 for me, and that is the 5, 7, 8.
All right, Jimmy D.
I screamed the word fierceness early in the year, and last year I was screaming the word fierceness also. And then I went to Sovereignty and got a little lucky with that horse early in the right after the Florida Derby. With that horse out, I come right back to fierceness. His Pacific Classic was fabulous. He was never headed, and when he was challenged, he just ran away from the field. There's nothing that makes me believe he won't do that again. I think it's going to be a Rapoli exacta. I like Mind Frame too. I think he's working up to this race. I liked him in the Jockey Gold Cup, but that was, just a debacle what happened in that race. And so all those horses were thrown off. But he's working sharp in the morning. This guy had trouble in a couple of his races. This horse is tough. This horse can win that race. But I'm going to put my fierceness on top of Mind Frame. The other horse I'll give a little credit to because of the jockey change is journalism. Rapoli should have been taken off that horse into Preakness. I don't know why they waited so long. He's gotten that horse in trouble. He tried to go after Fierceness too soon in the Pacific Classics, and Fierceness just ran away from him. In the Haskell, he had no competition, and in that Preakness, he was just in a short field. He got a horse in terrible trouble. I would have definitely taken him off that horse. The change to Jose Ortiz, I think, is only a positive, but I would still go 1, 8, 9. A Rapoli exacta.
Yeah, I'm not much different. I'm probably closer to maybe Chalky, but my top pick is Fierceness as well. So, look at the race last year. It looked like it was going to be super fast on paper. Was a very fast pace. Horse hung in there and just got caught by Sierra Leone late. You look at his last race, which was here in the Pacific Classic, from the one post. The horse totally ducks out at the start. Had no business kind of having anything at the end, let alone winning. Beating Journalism, who we were still at the time looking like top horse. So has done it with adversity, has done it on pace, like with fast paces. So I think you're still going to get a fast pace with Brown's other horse in there, and I think this time able to hold off Sierra Leone. My second pick was Sierra Leone, so I have him kind of running second, but could win. And then Forever Young was my other horse, so I was 1, 5, 7. Yes, 1, 5, 7. Jason.
So I really wish I had the Thorograph numbers for this race, but unfortunately, we're doing this on a Wednesday. Thorograph, I guess they were caught by surprise that the Breeders' Cup was coming, so they don't have the numbers ready. But anyway, so listen, I saw an interview before the draw, and whoever was interviewing Pletcher mentioned, the rail, and he was like, "I don't even go there. I don't even want to think it into existence that Fierceness is going to get the rail," and Fierceness got the rail. So obviously Pletcher did not want Fierceness to be on the rail. If he gets out of the gate, he's going to have to use him because definitely the 4 contrary thinking is going to go. I even think Baffert's horse, Nevada Beach, is going to show speed. So, and that's if he gets out of the gate. If he doesn't get out of the gate, I mean, I think it's totally different. I know he didn't get out of the gate in the Pacific Classic, but these horses are a lot better than those horses that were in that race. I don't know if he could recover, to get back into play. So, I even think Forever Young is going to. I mean, not necessarily be in the lead, but he's going to be close to the lead, and also the 10 Antiquarian is going to get. I think he's going to get a good stalking position from his post, the 10. So I love how Antiquarian won, and how he's improving. If you look at his buyers, he's definitely shown improvement as a 4-year-old coming into this race. Again, I wish I could see the thoroughgraphs. I don't have them. So I'm going to take a shot. I'm using him to win. I'm also using Sierra Leone. I think there's going to be enough speed in the race for Sierra Leone. Has shown that he likes Del Mar. He's going to have the pace to run into. If he wins this race, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm still using the 5 Forever Young. Like Chalky said, I'd pick him in every big race. I'm not going to not pick him and then have him win this race. I'm going to take a shot on Baeza, who's also improving. Again, I wish I could see how much he's improving, but he's improving as a 3-year-old. I don't know. Sometimes these horses improve into this race and they run a big race. So I'm 4 deep, 2, 5, 7, 10.
All right. Let's move on to race 10, the Breeders' Cup Mile, which is on the turf. Jimmy D, we'll let you kick it off.
Might have heard me say this before, but anytime you combine Godolphin with Appleby with Buick, it becomes an international powerhouse. I like Notable Speech. This is a Euro race back on the turf. They normally dominate these races. There's a reason for that. They come into America and they get a weight relief. People forget about that all the time. They're running at 134, 132, and here they're going to run at 126. 6-pound difference. Just put it in your pocket and walk around with it and see what it means to you. It makes a difference. This horse had run big. He's run big, been bet down all the time. In Europe. I see him as a good horse in this particular race. I see program training also maybe getting a piece of it. That's Brown's favorite turfer. And maybe back to Rhetorical, who ran a great race in the last race. I think the post compromises him a little bit, or I put him higher up. I don't like the 11 post in a mile race at Del Mar on the turf. But I do believe that the class of the race is Notable Speech, and I'd like 2 in that race.
All right, Jason.
So again, I watched a lot of replays of this race. I'm going to go 3 deep. The Euros didn't really impress me in watching the replays, but then I started watching them again, and I am very impressed with Notable Speech. I am going to use Notable Speech. He's not going to be my top pick. He'll be my second choice. I'm actually going to pick an American horse to win this race, and it's the 11 Rhetorical. He's going to sit off. He should get a nice stalking trip. He's got Irad, is he the best Breeders' Cup jockey ever? He might be. He's unbelievable. So, like I said, I'm going to use the 2 Notable Speech. He definitely could win this race. He's got a great turn of foot. He's going to be flying. A longer shot who I do think has a chance is another Euro, and that's the 10 Jonquil. He's going to be flying down the stretch late. And then 2 horses for the board. The 3 Salin, when I looked at him, he looked more like a grinder to me. I don't know. But, a grinder that could definitely get the board. And then the 4, the Lion Winner. He really didn't have an excuse in the last race, and he got beat by like a horse that was like ridiculous odds. So more like a board horse to me. So I'm 3 deep, 2, 10, and 11.
Yeah, I saw Notable Speech as the most likely winner in this race as well, for kind of all the points that Jimmy D kind of went through. Like Jason, I thought the 10 I think you'll creep up on that 10-1 price. I think you'll get better than that. So I do like that horse as well. And I was between the 3 and the 4 for adding a third horse, and I'll just go with the 4. The line in the winner. Time form ratings kind of match some of Notable Speeches time form ratings. So coming over to America. It's Aidan O'Brien. I think we were looking, it was like the Euros tend to win this race more often. I know maybe they didn't last time, but they tend to win this more often. So kind of want to stick with the Euros. The brown horse, it's an American. It's the 11 post. I think there's just a lot against the horse. Could be very good, but a lot has to go right for that horse to win.
I think that's Walden. That's not Brown.
It's not Brown.
Oh yeah. Well, because it was Irad. For some reason was Walden. So Walden's kind of a shady fella. So maybe here in Breeders' Cup he won't be able to kind of be shady. So I was 2, 4, 10. We got Chalky.
2, 3, 4, 11.
Did you pick out of a hat, or did you have?
No. Those are the horses I have, and I have nothing else to add to the discussion. So 2, 3, 4, 11.
Okay.
Except for the 3 and the 4 actually get an extra weight break as 3-year-olds, so they're carrying 123. If you're following Jimmy's philosophy,
Right.
It's true.
Okay. So we will go to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile to Grade 1. And I don't usually go first, but I'll go first here because I'm not going to give you anything. I'm going to pull Chalky. The 3 wins the race, and the horse is not going to be close to 8-5. Jason, how'd you say it?
Yeah, I think this is a free square single. You guys know I really like Nysos. I think he's crazy talented, head and shoulders better than these horses. Going to sit off. He can also go beat the wire if he needs to. I will throw in, and I'm singling Nysos to win, but I thought the 7 Citizen Bull and Exacta might be a Baffert Exacta. I kind of think he's got a chance to get second.
Chalky?
3. If you want more analysis, Baffert's going to send the 2 and the 6 out there, the 2 and the 7 out there to take full Serrano out. I do think Citizen Bull can hang around for a second or third if you want to use him in exotics, but single a 3.
Yeah, it could be fast. Could be a race where you do see maybe a little bit of somebody coming from behind and getting second or third outside the speed. Maybe like speed holds third or variation speed holds second. The closer gets third. So probably want to look at that maybe for a try.
I mean, you could look at Chance or McPatrick clunking it up for third or fourth. Not the win for sure, but
done with that horse.
Jimmy D, how'd you say it?
Well, what's funny, for the thousands of people that watch this podcast when I come on, I'd like to give them a horse with a price. I've won contests in Breeders' Cup. I've won certain contests by picking long shots in the Breeders' Cup. But in this particular sequence of our pick 5, I just can't see it. And you talked about a free square, Jason. This is the easiest of free squares. Nysos is the best sprinter in the country. We all had him way long back when, I forget, it was early in the season, and he got scratched that day, if you remember. Cash your 401k in. This horse is a neck from being undefeated. He's by far the best sprinter in the country, by far the best horse in Baffert's barn. This horse wins for fun on Saturday.
Yeah, and 8-5 is a joke, right?
Yeah, he's not going to be 8-5.
It's a joke.
Just unfortunately, Tom, I'd see him at probably 3-5.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. To follow up though on what Tommy said, the 1 will take it. Looks like he's going to close, and it's Dallas Stewart, but it's Mike Smith, who, I don't know, is he a type of rider that can ride a closer? I don't know. To me, he's more of a speed rider.
Giacomo and Zenyatta are the only 2 I can think of. And
That's true.
Zenyatta was
Giacomo
a
was
pretty good horse. Giacomo was
ago.
lucky, but
Yeah. So I don't know. Dallas Stewart has tendencies to hit the board and big prices. So that's a good call by Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, even there's a few, even the 4 to 5, like all those horses, you got to figure it out. But they all seem very likely to. I mean, even like Chalky said, Chance McPatrick, who is probably the most likely.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at it, 2, 6, 7, 3, 5, 10, those, they could all be on the leader right there. Those are all horses that are going to want to go to the front. And so that leaves the 1, 4, and the 8, who we kind of talked about.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's move on to the last leg. It's the leg that hopefully everybody will be alive to get paid in this pick 5. The mile and 3/8 Breeders' Cup Filly Mare turf. It's grade 1, of course. It is scheduled to go off at 8:25 Eastern time. If you're watching, this race will be off of NBC, just a side note. So you'll have to turn on TVG or watch on like an app or, whatever other device. But it will not be on the main broadcast, I believe. I think we talked about. So we started with Jason and we'll finish with Jason.
All right. Well, this race I thought's impossible. Like I don't know. I'm going 5 deep here. Not confident. I'm going to use all euros, and you're just going to try. I'm going to try to beat She Feels Pretty. I don't know. I think she's just not going to be value. I'm just going to try to beat her. So my top choice is going to be the 14 Seed of Fire. She's got great closing kick. The 5 Jazora, another, is on that same level, is going to close, but also is one close to the lead. So she's kind of, she's a little versatile. The 6 Diamond Rain, she got stuck in the gate in EP Taylor, and she still almost beat She Feels Pretty in that race. Like, I watched that, and I don't know. She Feels Pretty was just all over the course down the stretch and all. I'm not a fan. So 6 Diamond Rain is definitely live. I don't know why I have the 9 is Diamond Rain also. So I have Diamond Rain running with 2 numbers. What's the 9? Oh,
Cinderella's Dream.
Yes. That horse was the favorite in this race last year. As I changed the name here. So she finished second. She ran well. So the talent's there. Maybe she just runs back to where she should be there. And then the 11 Bedtime Story she feels more like a board horse, but I'm just going to include because I don't have a good feel for this race. So 5, 6, 9, 11, 14.
All right. I also agreed a lot with what Jay said. I'm 5 deep as well. Thought it was pretty wide open. I mean, if I had to do a top pick, Cinderella's Dream, I thought, which is the Jimmy D, the Appleby, the Buick. The way I looked at it is, you kind of look at the tide form races last year of the horse of her coming into these races, and where Belmont Oaks, the Saratoga Oaks, and the Breeders' Cup, they were roughly around 95, 94 tide form, give or take, if you want to take them. Now, she was favored in all those races pretty much. Now you look at her time form coming in, it's 70 points higher, in some cases even higher, 102, 111, 116. So she's much improved from last year. She's coming in these races as the favorite last year, likely gonna improve. So that was my thought there. The 14, like Jason said, closing. The 6, which is the other Appleby. 2 for the 4. Village Voice, so it's Brown. Maybe Brown gets one. And then my ultimate bomb was the 2, 31 Morning Line. Look, I'm looking through the race. It's a lot of euros.
Not a lot of speed.
There's not a lot of speed. This horse has showed speed at that Kentucky Downs track. God knows what the hell that goes on over there. Kind of runs further on that track than you do on a regular track. So maybe Drew gets the horse on the lead and just, they think they're going to come back to him, and the horses can go the distance and just keeps going at a huge price. So 2, 4, 6, 9, and 14 to finish it off. Chalky?
Yeah, so my picks are going to bank on that there's going to be enough pace up front between the 2 and the 7, and then maybe 13 press them a little bit. So I'm with the assistance of the time forms like Tommy was talking about. I'm going with the 2 Applebys, so no big shot there. I am going to make the 6 Diamond Rain top pick. Jason mentioned the trouble she had last time out. And then Cinderella's Dream would be my second choice there. That's the one Buick's on. So Mora had got the jump on her last year, and she couldn't run her down in time. So a repeat of that performance probably beats this field, because I don't know if anybody else is quite as good as Mora was last year going into this race. So, but I'll put the 6 on top. So I am 6, 9.
All right, Jimmy D.
What I'd like to do, fellas, in this particular race is just tell you that, and Jason alluded to this earlier, this is the toughest race. You'd have to go so deep in this race. But the people that follow me don't want to hear me go 5 deep. They want to hear a winner. I'm going to give him the 5. I'm going to give him Jazora. And I'll tell you why. If you put a line through that last trace, and that was the Arcade Trail, which is the classic race out there, was run on soft turf. That horse doesn't like soft turf. And it's going to get firm turf in Del Mar, and he'll be just fine. He's right there in every one of these races. He's $1 million earner as a 3-year-old. He could be the best horse in France. And let me tell you something. If he gets any kind of pace in that race, he's going to close like a freight train in there. And I think he can win the race. As far as backup things, I can get a little cute with this. A Cinderella story, going back to the Appleby angle. And if I'm telling Cinderella's dream, then I have to tell the bedtime story, don't I? So Cinderella's dream, the bedtime story, but they all get beat by the 5, Jazora.
Okay, so we covered all the races. Now let's go ahead and give out what that all means as far as a pick 5, Jason.
Yeah, I have an expensive ticket. So for 50 cents, this is going to be $90. So race 8 is 138. Race 9 is 257.10. Race 10 is 210.11. Race 11 is the single, Nice Host the 3. And race 12 is 569.11.14. And again, it's for 50 cents is $90.
Yeah, I'll give you mine. I might have calculated I gotta do it again. So I was 138 the first leg, 157 the second leg, 410 third leg, so that's what 27. Single to Nice Host the 3, and then I was 5 deep, 2, 4, 6, 9, 14. So 27 and 5 is that 135, 67.50 for 50 cent, I believe. Chalky.
So first leg will be 1-8. Second leg is 5-7-8. Third leg is 2-3-4-11. Fourth leg, single to 3, Nisos. And the last leg is 6-9. If you want to punch it for $1, that is 48. If you want to do it for 50 cents, it's 24.
All right, Jimmy D.
What I'd like to do is in race 8, I'd go 3 deep with 138. In race 9, I'd go that Rapoli exacta with 189. I'd throw in race 10, 2, 5, 11. Race 11, I singled the 3, and I just got a call from Giovanina that said if the 3 wins, any toppings you want on that pizza come free. And in the last race, 5, 9, 11. And that would be a 50 cent, $40.50 pick 5.
So is there any chance that 3 wins that we all singled them?
I feel like this happened before, and the horse.
Hear you, pal.
Not winning.
I know. Listen, you guys have been pretty good on this, and Tommy always asks me for a closing statement. I'm going to take it upon myself. The people that listen to this podcast when I'm on it listen for the races, and of course the thousands of women that listen to it just to see me. But the point being, this is the most informative podcast I've seen in a long time. I mean it. I've said this before. You guys do your homework, whatever sport it is. I got a lot of guys in New York that don't like the fact that we do a lot of Philadelphia stuff. But I tell them, listen anyhow, because you'll get educated. And the truth of the matter is you do. You always come up with different angles. Proud to be on this podcast. And I hope to see you before the next big race.
Yeah, let's cash them out. Let's finish the horse racing year positive. Let's hit the picks and have a good day. Episode 179 of Broad Street Hustle.
The true kings of Philly sports media.